institution of profit, but most of the goods in Chile are taxed with VAT. Even the 19%, there are others that is more tax. For example, luxury products, cars with I don't know, airbags, I don't know, a seat of weather, I don't know, but cars, luxury jewelry has taxes with more than 19%. Even, for example, cigarettes are taxes with more. What is the tax in cigarettes? But 70%. Yeah. I don't know if it's clear this part of the.
Instead of products or services to a foreign company, you have to pay that as well?
No, it there's no. You have to pay for foreign companies. When you import a product, if you turn a product, you have to pay tax, but services from foreign a company, no. But they are subject to the additional tax. If you receive a consulting or engineer assistance, you have to discount for the payment the withholding tax, the additional tax for foreign or foreigner companies. Well, this is the most important taxes in Chile. I'm going to talk to you related to the main tax return. Maybe most of you knows F21. How much of you are doing this form? Some of you are fill this form because this form is necessary to fill it monthly. No? Okay. But this is the most common and most stress for accountant or for company to do the F21. Yeah, this is a simultaneous reporting and payment of taxes. It reports mainly value added tax and the monthly and advance payment of annual corporate income tax. It must be filled and submitted to the SII within the first 17th next day the following month. Okay, most of the company, I think all, are in electronic invoice. So before that, companies and individuals have to fill this form in the 12th after the next day to the following month. But currently, you have to do it at the 17th next day to the following month. Another important form is the form 50. This is a simultaneous reporting and payment of taxes. It reports mainly the withholding tax applied to income earned by taxpayer not resident in Chile. Must be filled and submitted to the SII within the first 12 next days month following the remittance abroad. Distribution payment or crediting in account of the income earned by the taxpayer no resident or domicile in Chile. So as I told you, if you receive services from a foreigner that is not resident in Chile, you have to obligated to retain the tax for them. You are the taxpayer. Okay? F22, income tax return. Next month, most Chilean is going to do this form, 22. Income tax return, the income tax must be computed and paid by the taxpayers under the self-assessed method. The annual income tax return must be filed in April of the year following the tax year of income generation. SII has a lot of information that is provided for different companies. If you do an invoice, if you receive an invoice, this information the SII has the information. So most of people or most persons in Chile, SII provide information to do this form. In 90% is correctly. Yeah? So you have to enter, and SII is going to provide you with information to do the F-22. There is a lot of affidavit or source statement that are informative and should be submitted by the taxpayer depending on the nature of the operation and compliance with a certain requirement. I think there's almost the most important is 10 affidavits. You have to do it annually.
Question. When you don't have revenues and sales, do you need to pay corporate income tax or no?
If you don't earn, if your company or you don't earn money or don't earn utility or profit, you don't have to pay taxes.
Okay.
Because you have to demonstrate that before the SIL. So you have to do the form, and you put your loss, or your company is not is starting business. So probably initially you don't need to pay, or you don't have to pay taxes.
Okay.
Well, there is a lot of book. I don't think a lot, but several. For tax purposes, you have to emit or submit sale and purchases journals. Payroll back is required when there are 5 or more employees. Withholding tax books and inventory books if you have selling products. Most of them, for example, the sales and purchase journals, you have to submit it to the SII in a monthly basis. If you only have purchases and you don't have sales, you have to submit the purchases journals. If you want 1 sales, you have to submit purchases journals and sales journals. It's electronic because today all business in Chile is doing, for bad purposes, is doing in electronic methods, invoice electronic. Okay, the SII web provide freely a system to do it. And accountant compliance. I don't know if you understand this equation. Assets is saying the liability plus owner's equity. Have you been seen this before? This is the concept basic of the accounting. When you have a transaction or have 2 business, only transaction can be at the same time in double entry. Okay, in double entry. This is important. For example, if you do a balance of you, how do you think how do you think will be the balance of you, like person? In this moment, I try to explain this equation. For example, assets is all your possessions. Okay. For example, will be your pocket, the cash in your pocket, and your cash in your bank. Okay. This is your asset. Okay. However, the accounting establish another entry, or the second entry for this concept. For you have to in the left you are going to have the asset, and the right you are going to be the liability. And the concept of the equity or the capital is liability. So if you are equation of your situation, you have to, in the asset, you're going to be your cash, your money in the bank is the same with your equity. This is your capital. As long as start business, this equation is going to be complicated. For example, what do you think you would be an account, a receivable account? For example, you sell and your client didn't pay yet. What will be this account receivable? What is it? Is it an asset or is it a liability? As an asset. Okay, as an asset. This is the concept. For example, if you buy a truck for your business, what will be this concept? An asset or a liability? As an asset. And if you get money from the bank, what will be? I receive money, I have the money, but I have a loan to the bank. Is what considers as liability or an asset? It's liability. But when you enter this operation in your accounting, you have to put a loan in the right, and you have to put the cash you receive in your checking account. So always transaction is in two point of view, liability and asset. Okay, so it's double entry. This is the concept of the accounting.